All right.
And we are live. Yo, how pissed off must the establishment be with Trump? So first, they try to hit him with the insurrection, go all the way to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court says, nope, not an insurrection. You can't take him off the ballot. Okay. They try to go with the mugshot, embarrass him. Boom, turns into a t-shirt, gets more popular, starts selling shoes, starts selling t-shirts. People love him more, starts winning the black vote because of that. Then they try to hit him with the $400 million bond. And people are, oh, wow, he's going to get bankrupt. He's cash poor. He's not going to be able to pay for it. Boom, $3 billion IPO for Truth Social. Then try to get the convicted felon thing on him. And was that $400 million campaign funding and doesn't even make a dent in his polls. And then today, the home run of them all, the Supreme Court says that the president is entitled to immunity under presidential actions and things that are within the scope of the presidency. So what a freaking day for Trump. And I definitely wasn't of the mindset that the president should have complete immunity, like no matter what. I mean, and it seems like they left some room for interpretation, but I don't know. I'm happy with what happened today, and we're gonna play some clips from both sides of the media. What do you think about this? I mean, I I feel like that's a rhetorical question at this point.
I don't know if it's a rhetorical question, Brandon.
I feel like I could predict how you feel about this.
Huh?
So I feel like I could predict within good reason how you feel about this.
I'm split.
Yeah?
I'm split.
All right, why?
Because I would love to see Obama pay for his crimes of drone bombing American citizens. I would love to see George Bush getting in trouble for the wars. I would love to see Hillary Clinton in jail. But at the same time, I think that this was the only way to put a stop to what they're doing to Trump.
Yeah, I mean, they were never going to do anything to those people in the first place. So, I mean, because they're part of the club. But I'm glad that this protects Trump from having any type of undue action taken against them. What's up, Manitoba, Winnipeg? How you doing?
First Nation, the house. That's how you say it, Manitoba.
My man.
TRC 23. You know what it is. This guy is day one.
That's a better name, TRC 23, than trying to say the full thing. It's a lot of syllables.
Yeah. You gotta have the First Nation here in the house.
So the place I go to for this lately is surprisingly.
You know what I'm getting at.
What were you getting at?
I mean, like, okay, they weren't gonna do anything anyways, and I'm glad it happened. But at the same time, this can backfire tremendously.
It's going to backfire?
It could backfire tremendously.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
How about if we get a guy that actually commits crimes in office?
Well, in that situation, Congress still has the power to take the president out of office if things really got crazy.
Yeah, true.
So a lot of things to get to, but the place I've been going to for what are you doing with your camera? The place I've been going to for a lot of this lately is surprisingly Alan Dershowitz, super liberal, but his love for upholding the law apparently surpasses his political bias. So I appreciated what he said after Trump got the whole convicted felon thing. And so this is what he said today when Glenn Beck brought him on for a second.
Trump, I said that neither side would have a complete victory and that the Supreme Court would rule 6-3, that if it's well within the authority of the president, he has immunity. But if it's outside the authority, and now the question is, which is which, and does it have to go back to the trial court to determine whether the indictment alleges things that are covered by immunity, whether it covers things that are not covered by immunity. So this is the first step in what will be a multi-step process, and it probably means that there won't be a trial before the election.
Right. So that's a win for Donald Trump. But I think so. Is this a win for the Republic? Because we can't have one of the branches going after the other branch, and then we also can't have people dragging the president into the courtroom for everything that he does. He's got to have immunity on official stuff, right? But where's the?
I agree.
Do you agree with this line?
Yeah, I agree with the line in general, but I think it's going to be hard to implement in practice because everything the president does, he does as president. That's very hard to separate out private acts from public acts. But, for example, the president orders the targeted assassination of Soleimani. Surely he has to be immune for any prosecution for that. But what if the president, orders troops to have a coup d'etat and keep him in office, hypothetically? He probably shouldn't get immunity for that. So I do think that this seems like the right line. And now the problem is it's going to be implemented by the lower courts, and the lower courts of the District of Columbia are completely biased against Trump. So it may come back to the Supreme Court. This may not be the last word.
So yeah, great point he makes at the end there, and I wonder what's going to happen with some of this stuff with what got kicked down to the appellate courts for this one. I mean, it seems like he said there, it's going to go kind of like in a back and forth thing. But I mean, shit, what a blessing! And I mean, that's a clear example of light always defeating darkness. Like, it was completely random that Trump just so happened to be president while there were 3 Supreme Court vacancies. I mean, holy shit! Imagine if that happened under Obama.
Oh, it would be over.
Yeah, everything would be gone.
No, it will be over. Like we're seeing this happening in Brazil right now.
Yep.
They're ruling the country by the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not. I mean, it's very scary. They can do whatever, really.
Did you see what Sotomayor said?
No, I didn't.
Oh, so buckle up.
And there was the dissent was written by Justice Sotomayor. We also had from Elena Kagan. From Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Today,
I want to start with Justice Sotomayor, and I believe I'm going to pull up, just for the control room, the first Justice Sotomayor had reason to believe that he would be immune from criminal prosecution. Had reason to believe that he would be immune from criminal prosecution if he used the trappings of his office to violate the criminal law. Moving forward, however, all former presidents will be cloaked in such immunity. If the occupant of that office misuses official power for personal gain, the criminal law that the rest of us must abide will not provide a backstop. With fear for our democracy, I dissent.
It's a very strong statement by Justice Sotomayor.
And then, who had something to say? Did you see what AOC said?
Probably something stupid.
Well, obviously something stupid, but
today's ruling represents an assault on American democracy. Now it's up to Congress to defend our nation from this authoritarian capture, she writes. I intend on filing articles of impeachment upon our return. To you, Judge.
Sandra, whenever anyone on the left talks about an assault against democracy, you know that it has little, if any, meaning. That's their go-to line when they don't have a substantive argument. Look, our government is set up in a way that there are 3 branches. The Supreme Court is a branch that has final decision on legal decisions in this country. They are not willing to accept it if it doesn't align with their political ideology. And this is part of the institutional breakdown of our government. We are now in a scenario.
So why is it okay for Democrats to call it Supreme Court and try to undo the law when they don't like the outcome of something, but when the other side just ever so slightly disagrees with what comes down the pipe, then you're a domestic terrorist or something?
Well,
I asked rhetorically, of course.
Yeah, that is rhetorical, because if you're asking for sound reasoning or for things to make sense, you're asking the wrong question, buddy. Like, whenever it's in favor of them, it's all good, but whenever it might harm a little bit their plans, it's a disgusting attack in our democracy. The democracy is at risk.
Yeah. If their version of democracy is at risk, I'm all for that, because I don't think that their version of democracy, I mean, not even that we're a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, which I laugh every time somebody says that. And somebody said that in the chat here. Thank you for Stanley Gray. You're correct. We are a constitutional republic, not a democracy.
We don't have to get tired of reminding people that we're a constitutional republic and not a democracy. In a constitutional republic, you have a lot of things that are not democratic. Like, democracy is a part of some parts of running, a constitutional republic, but not every part is democratic.
Right.
Because if every part was democratic, we're gonna end up like Congo or like Bolivia or like whatever. You know?
Yeah, 'cause the vast majority of people are pretty dumb. So if you have every single person's input on every single issue, you're one, never gonna get anything done, and two, probably not gonna have the best plans in place to get things done.
Oh, if imagine if they had my input on everything, we're done. It's over. The country's done.
Yeah, you especially. I mean, have you ever seen a bell curve of what the average IQ is
Yes, I think it follows the normal distribution.
of the traditional bell curve distribution?
Yeah.
Let's see, IQ of bell curve IQ. Ha. It's like, what's a good IQ? Like 120s, pretty solid.
No, like anything from 115 to 130, you're pretty smart. Anything above 130, you're like super smart, and anything above 145, you're genius.
All right, here we go. I'm going to share this thing. Never know where we're going to go on this thing. I like it. So right here in the middle, I guess the vast majority of people have 100 IQ. And then I think it's like, oh, this one's better. So, oh, it's not better. Here we go. This is what I was looking for. So like 96% of people have, or what, how the hell is this thing saying? Okay, 68% of people are between 85 and 115. Then 14% are between 115 and 130. Then 2% are between 130 and 145. That's a shit ton of people that are like average or below average. So do you want this fucking bell curve with 68% of people at 100 IQ making all the decisions?
Let me put in perspective. Like 70 is literally mentally challenged.
Yes.
All right. And
yeah.
a good chunk of the population, they live between 70 and 85.
Right. So, I mean, you don't want, like, that's why we have a representative where in theory, like, I mean, and that's why it's a constitutional republic. In theory, your representative is one of the more polished people who pay attention to this shit, because nobody actually does, or the vast majority of people don't. So in a perfect situation, you don't have swamp creatures as your representatives. You have an actual distinguished person with your best interests out there fighting the good fight for you. But we've been so dumb to the point where we don't hold those people accountable, don't pay attention to what they're doing. So we've let swamp creatures infiltrate the Congress.
Well, Pat is bringing up this.
Oh, Shane is in the house.
Oh, wow.
Hoodie
is up.
How are we doing?
Good. Oh man, you missed like we had a whole breakdown on the average IQ and why it would be disastrous to like genuinely let the will of the people determine what happens in society.
Yeah, there's the clip of the guy, I forget his name, the guru, and he's saying democracy is by the people, but the people are retarded.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. 100%. So did you see what Sotomayor and AOC said today?
I saw Sotomayor saying that it makes Trump a king and that it's a disgrace. And I saw Schumer saying that the court has lost its credibility, which is an extremely radical thing for a Senate majority leader to be saying about the Supreme Court.
And especially someone that has a credibility of Schumer. Like, that's rich.
You scroll down one tweet and he's at a gay pride parade in New York, and his niece is Amy Schumer. So
that's
no way.
Yeah,
no
you didn't know that?
way.
Yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah.
What?
This is the guy talking about credibility and leading our Senate right now.
The one that makes jokes about her genitals.
Yeah, we've single-handedly set women back 50 years.
All right.
But I did not see what AOC said.
Here, I'll run it again quick.
Wait, throw it up on the screen. The Supreme Court.
So the Supreme Court has become consumed by a corruption crisis beyond its control. Today's ruling represents an assault on American democracy, and it is up to Congress to defend our nation from its authoritarian capture. I intend on filing articles of impeachment upon our return.
Yeah, so here's the thing about this. Absolute immunity is absolutely constitutional. And the idea that the president should not be immune from petty criminal charges is the values of an unaccountable deep state that wants to be able to arrest and recall the people's executive whenever they want to.
Yeah.
The calls for non-immunity is the call for the law courts and for the media to be able to just attack and destroy any politician that gets in their way. So for them to be saying that this is authoritarian or anti-constitutional is a joke.
Mm-hmm.
They're the authoritarians, and having a strong executive or an executive that can do its duties as outlined by the Constitution is actual justice, and they are the ones who don't want to have any accountability.
100%. And I mean, I totally agree with that. But keep in mind, like, this is from the standpoint of if Trump's president. I mean, do you feel the same way if Newsom becomes president? Because I that's where I kind of hesitate to be so excited about this.
Well, can I add to that?
Let me just say real quick. The thing is that this has always been the way that the president has been handled.
Right.
It's only now that they have crossed this Rubicon of trying to criminally indict past presidents that we've even had to say this out loud.
Right.
If Newsom is president and he does something I don't like, you go about it the same way that you go about it when a president you don't like in the past does something you don't like. You vote them out, or you challenge them in a different way with Congress, with the Supreme Court, like what is happening right now. There's other ways of doing it. There always has been. This has never been a problem before. It's just it's only them now that's causing this to be a problem.
No, that's a good point. Go ahead, Umberto. And then
I want to expand on that. That this lawfare system that we're seeing, it shouldn't only apply to the president. The thing is that there's so many rules in the books that every one of us, from even your grandmother, whoever it is, there's always a rule that can land you in prison.
Yeah.
Like, we're all constantly breaking rules because they make laws over laws over laws. And I think basic common sense will dictate that the president that has to do a bunch of things for the interest of the common good, that he can act as a ruling executive is one thing. But any political opponent right now, either by law or by the media or whatever, by public opinion, can be ruled out immediately. And this system they set up is like a spider's web.
Yeah. And are you guys familiar with the case Nixon versus Fitzgerald that they used for precedent for this case?
No.
So yeah, that's what they kept talking about today. Here, I'll share it on the screen quick. And they were saying that the Supreme Court ruled on a case like this at one point before, when Nixon was being, I guess, called for potential criminal action or criminal cases against him, because that's what I'm trying to find right now, actually, is like what initiated this. But I heard somebody say the Cold War earlier when they were breaking it down. But basically, Nixon versus Fitzgerald was a United States Supreme Court case dealing with the presidential immunity from civil liability for taking actions while in office. The court found that a president is entitled to absolute immunity from damages liability predicated on his acts. Blah, blah, blah.
Official, yeah. That's important.
What's that?
On his official acts, that's important.
Right, and that's the big thing about this, like things that you're doing in the active role as president. So, I mean, what's an example of something where you're overstepping that, I guess, would be the case? Like if you, like, I get maybe like the Bill Clinton thing where you're hooking up with a chick and, she starts mouthing off and you use the power of the presidency to silence her. I guess that'd be outside of the president's scope.
Yeah, I mean, the preamble to the Constitution isn't just about the president. It's also about the government at large and just the document itself. But its list of duties are a pretty good place to start. It's like ensure the common defense, tranquility, the ability to engage in commerce, pretty basic stuff. Basically, like secure the law of the land, secure the peace of the land so that prosperity and development can occur. So if that means having to go after some Barbary pirates and you're Thomas Jefferson, then you need to go and do that. And if that means sinking some ships full of pirates in them, then some pirates need to be sank.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know if the people in the chat know enough about the Barbary pirates.
I think we have some patriots. I challenge you on that. I think we have some patriots who know about that. I mean, fucking people on Fox News who watch on the 4th of July, they play documentaries all day about the founders. So yeah, they'll know. But if you have a president who has absolutely no ability to do those basic things, then you have nothing. You have a post office general. You don't have an actual leader.
Right.
And then when they think that this means that the floodgates are open to go kidnap and kill people for no reason, I don't see how that has anything to do with ensuring the common defense or prosperity. So I don't see how that logic works. I know that's what they want to be able to go and do.
Right.
I know they're projecting their desires, but that's not really what's going on.
Yeah.
If you guys want to know more about how the Americans dismantled the Barbary pirate nation, there's a really good video on the Fat Electricians channel. Absolutely great.
How about just save that to the end there, sport?
Sorry?
I said, how about you save that until the end so we don't drive people away? Hook on the Barbary pirates right now while we're about to talk about Thomas Massie's wife possibly being assassinated by you-know-who. Shane, did you hear about this?
I've heard about the theory, yeah. I haven't seen if there's any...
Did you hear that his wife died?
I heard about that, yeah. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell did we think about that? I mean, I just heard about this like 10 minutes ago, but I mean, apparently it looks like she died of natural causes. What the hell?
Yes. I mean, was there any, has he said there was any indication that she was ill or,
No, from what I've heard, Humberto, I mean, you looked at this a little bit too, but from what I've seen, that they haven't given a single reason for why she died.
Yeah, I mean, because Massie's our guy. We love that guy. So
he's the real one.
He's the only real one. We tend to watch all of his interviews. He always talked highly about his wife. But I there's no precedent. I didn't find any news that she fell sick or whatever. I mean, it's a very private matter.
Yeah, they're not even giving a reason.
And she was 51, healthy, and she just suddenly died. I don't know.
Dude, that is terrifying. What the hell happened here? Did they freaking off his wife?
And this is just after APAC poured how much into his race?
What was it, like 10, 15 million?
They did 20 million in Jamal Bowman's race, but that was the most that has ever been spent on a House primary. So it's under that, but substantial. And I mean, Massie has been in Congress for nearly, I think he's been in for 12 years.
Yeah.
So 12 years, and you haven't heard a peep about him. All of a sudden now he takes this stance. He's all over the news, and then his wife dies. It's just like...
Yeah, it's
very
insane.
Sudden
chain of events.
And I must say that his stance, if you listen to him, it's not a stance out of hatred. No. It's a stance. It's a non-interventionist, run-of-the-mill stance. I don't think that guy holds hatred or contempt for anyone except people that make bad policies. It's unbelievable. Let me tell you.
You want to shell out money to a bunch of foreign countries.
Yeah, he's a libertarian who came in with the libertarian wave in the 2012 era, Tea Party guy. He holds to his principles. Those apply universally. Israel should be no exception. He says himself that he likes Israel, that he likes it as a place. and he's not even like angry at AIPAC. He just finds it amusing that they have like guys, like I have my AIPAC guy. Like he's just like it's like funny, like they're trying to give me homework and I don't want to do the homework.
Right.
But he's not like some virulent anti-Semite or something.
No, exactly. But I mean, Jesus, like if if this is like actually what happened here, if we can't find that she died from something, rock solid that we could point to, if it was like, okay, I mean, even a heart attack would be weird, to be honest with. Like we've seen those videos that from the 70s, Congress is talking about laser pointers that could give you a heart attack. So that, like, I wouldn't even be content with that. I mean, maybe she had some illness that we didn't know about, but if she died from freaking natural causes, I can't just, accept that and say that there was no foul play there.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, people do die from natural causes.
But the wife of somebody who just called out the most powerful lobby in the world.
It's just crazy timing.
Yeah, I guess we'll chalk that one up to a maybe for now. But do you have to go, or do you want to talk some Europe conservative revolution?
I'll talk a bit about that. I'm going to leave at 10, so let's do a 5-minute.
Oh, beautiful.
Salt.
All right, so here's a quick little synopsis.
The far right on course for an historic victory in France as President Emmanuel Macron's election gamble backfires. Jubilation for Marine Le Pen's national rally projected to win the first round with more than a third of the vote. Macron's centrist coalition is pushed into third place behind the left. Le Pen says Macron's camp is all but wiped out and calls on voters to give her an absolute majority. Elections, according to Project, his coalition seems set to come only third after the centre left. Turnout in this first round has been a record high of 69%.
That's crazy, 69% turnout. And then the party that ended up winning, they had 34% of the total vote. Macron's party had 20%. And I guess this kid who's like 28 years old is going to be the freaking prime minister of France, which is sick. Do you know anything about this kid?
Wait, what's his name?
Jordan something. I'll find the full name here. France young.
Yeah, I sent it to you yesterday. Did I?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm talking about. It. Jordan Bardella.
Yeah, and I thought it was a weird last name. That last name sounds Italian.
It does, but
right?
Yeah.
Maybe he's Corsican.
Next Napoleon.
Yeah, he's the second coming.
The second coming of Napoleon.
I'm jealous, but I'm impressed. Good for him.
My question is, though, what are the globalists plotting right now while we're distracted with American elections and all this? Like they're not going to let this happen. So what's the new, what's the game plan for them?
That's a great point, because I feel like they're like a scared animal being backed into a corner right now, because on the U.S. side of things, you have everything they try to do to Trump backfiring or not working. Everything bounced off Trump, which I was saying, it must be extremely annoying to them that no matter what they try to do, he, overcomes it. And then on the Europe side, their shitty policies have gotten so shitty and annoying that you have Germany, their far right parties starting to get the momentum. You have France, where they're taking the parliament now. UK, you have what's his name, Nigel Farage coming back. So everybody's sick of the globalist immigration policies and the encouraging the LGBT stuff. So I think that everything is going bad for the globalists right now, and I'm not at peace with that being the state of things, because like I said, they're like a scared and desperate animal that could lash out at any time when things are in this type of situation. Like we're in this type of situation in 2019.
There's an old saying that says that there is no evil that will last 1,000 years, and there's no stupid people that will tolerate it for that long. And I think this is what's happening. I guess I need to swear, they fucked up for so long and so hard, that this is what you get. Like they were trying to, like they betrayed the citizenry so badly that they tried to import new citizens to remain in power. And they had a very bold strategy that could backfire tremendously. And this is what we're seeing. They're not God and they're not almighty. But I think the question that my friend Shane here is posing is a valid one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the next thing is going to be climate in some way. That's like the big last weapon in their supply that they've been holding on to this whole time. And they know that they can't control people anymore. They can't control people from moving around the world. They can't tax them out of existence because they're finding ways to hide their money offshore.
Yeah.
They tried the COVID lockdowns; those didn't work. In the end, they didn't work. At first, they did, obviously. But food and water, if they can figure out how to, because how much percentage of the modern Western society doesn't make their own food? I mean, 95%.
Yeah.
So no matter how powerful and wealthy you are, if they can find a way to clamp down on the food and water and bring everyone to their knees, because we need to conserve water and ration meat and all that shit.
Yep.
All they need though is an excuse to do that. So, like Brandon, you always talk about the weather manipulation. I really don't doubt that could be up their sleeve.
Oh, 100%. I was going to say, imagine in some crazy world where you had a machine that can literally control the weather, and you just so happen to have been acquiring all the major farmland and for whatever reason ignoring the abundance of water that we have in the world and just using this tiny amount of water and letting it trickle into the people. And even though we're having droughts, which for some reason, I don't know why we have droughts, because we have the technology to the cloud seeding that creates rain, almost too much rain sometimes. So it's almost like we're allowing droughts to happen, allowing water to be scarce to create the conditions for the situation to happen. So I completely agree. What scarier of a force than the literal things you need to live that you can't live 3 days without, I don't think that's too far-fetched at all. I think Project Bluebeam, that type of situation, is farther down the line, but I would not rule anything out if things look desperate enough for them, because I think a lot of the states don't have enough time to put somebody new on the ballot if they don't do it within the next week or two, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like they're going to try to do that, but if they don't do that, there's no way Biden's going to win.
Yeah, I don't think Biden's going to win, but I think the next Democrat, they're going to have the second COVID ready, which is going to be climate something, and President Newsom in 2030 is going to be a fucking trip. But, I gotta jump.
Yeah, thanks for jumping on.
Of course.
We're jumping out too.
I'll see you guys on Unusual. What do you say?
Thanks for jumping out too.
I know. Right. Thanks for jumping in, and he needs to jump.
Yeah, see, it's nice and easy. You don't have to deal with me for too long. All right, see you on Wednesday.
All right, we'll see you then. But
Brandon.
Yes.
I think I agree with him, but on the food and water supply thing. But I have this feeling that it's gonna be directly related to the food supply.
Yeah. Well, so you think that's why they've been talking about bird flu a lot and saying they need to start testing all the cows to see if they have bird flu?
Yep, I've been paying attention to that, and it's ramping up.
Yeah, it's not one of those stories that's necessary. Like, it's not really picking up a ton of momentum, but it's not going away either. Like, keep seeing it trickle in.
Like, the thing is with the COVID thing, like, I always been overinformed, and I started reading about it like a month before it was like official.
Yeah.
And it was probably just as big as mad cow's disease 2.0.
Well, do you think it's people will take that though again because of? I mean, I feel like people are pretty non-tolerant of like the same things that led to the COVID situation. Like, do you think they would be that lazy to do like the same type of an emergency? Like, I almost feel like they have to take a new emergency out of the emergency box.
It's not lazy, Brandon.
Yeah, it is. To do an exact same type of crisis.
I mean, but those crises, they scare everyone.
I know, but I feel like an original crisis would be scarier than a crisis that's the same as the last crisis.
Like, I truly believe that having a virus or infection or whatever, that that's right around the corner. Like, they don't even have to purposely release it or try to control it. I think there's enough research going on everywhere that one of them is bound to get out.
Bound to get out. I mean, yeah, and you have to ask yourself the question, for people who constantly talk about how the population of the world needs to be down 80%. I mean, out of the whole basket of ways to do that, what would be the most desirable way for them to do that? I mean, that's a pretty easy way for them to do it if they give themselves like the immunity shot or whatever before they release the thing.
Maybe something they can stop. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but I definitely think that they're not just going to roll over and take the results of this. Like, I almost wonder if it's like even real or fake panic on their part, because I can't help but feel like the establishment's always in control of the situation in their eyes. Like, they got surprised in 2016, but I don't imagine they're going to let that happen again.
Look, Brandon, the Roman Empire was establishment once, and they lost control.
But look at the means they have to control us now versus back then. Like, back then it was just like a bunch of dudes with swords, but now they have they're basically able to read our minds and track our movement.
Like, as humans, we're always biased to think we have it the worst and we have it the best, and this is the end of time, and this time is really gonna happen. But history is long, and it repeats itself. So I don't know. I'm not ruling anything out, Brandon. Not at all.
Okay, fair enough.
But on the election thing in Europe, I think is far beyond repair.
What, the momentum towards the conservative side?
Yeah,
good.
I think it's too little, too late, and I don't think things are gonna change in a substantial manner because of geographical reasons and population sizes and culture. Um, like the educational systems, like I will find it hard to believe that anything substantial happens with this turnaround, and I don't think it's sustainable either.
Wait, so are you saying that you don't think that the conservative movement's going to change anything, or you don't think that they're going to be able to stop the conservative movement?
I don't think they're going to change anything.
Why?
Because power and bureaucracy in general is a hell of a drug, Brandon. Once they start having nice dinners and going to nice places and get their government cars and their government suits and the fancy parties and the pictures with the latest model and superstar, and they get invited to football matches or whatever it is, I think they're all gonna crumble.
Who's going to crumble?
The people that just got elected. They're gonna get corrupted.
Yeah, but I mean, corruption on the right and corruption on the left is different. I mean, you could be corrupt and not allow mass immigration. You could, like, what's that? The good old conservative military industrial complex type of corruption compared to the fucking globalist far left corruption.
It's a very weak balance. Like, people come in with all these ideas, we're going to change everything, whatever, and then you just give them one election cycle and they crumble. We've seen a lot of people that we actually really liked in Congress to crumble before a whole period.
So here's a question, and this is coming from the thought of, like, I'm wondering, would we be in a better situation if you had to have a certain net worth to be in politics, which sounds extremely shitty on its face, but the more money you have, the less corruptible you are, I would imagine, at least. And then the second part of that question is, why is it that a lot of millionaires are pretty based, but when you get to the level of like somebody like a J.B. Pritzker or like a Bill Gates or I don't know, the Getty family or the freaking offspring of the Rupert Murdoch, why is it that they tend to lean liberal? Like, what do they get out of being liberal? Is it guilt? Like, is it them trying to virtue signal because they didn't earn their money?
It's being disengaged from the community.
That's it?
That's it. You're too far removed from the average person.
So like the California elites, they think that the policies that they're advocating for like are helping more people than they're hurting, or are they interested in creating chaos?
No, they think they sound good on paper and they're never gonna touch them.
So they're just not close enough in proximity to those people, you're saying?
Yeah. Have you ever been to like a gated community in California?
Not California, but I know what a gated community looks like.
It's a complete different world. They even have supermarkets inside of them.
I would hope so.
They have schools, they have supermarkets, they have everything that they don't need to go to the outside world.
Shit. Well, what do you think about the idea of saying that you have to have a certain amount of money to be president, or not to be like, well, to be president or to be in Congress? Like you have to have a $1 million net worth in cash to be in Congress. Do you think that'd be unfair, or do you think that'd put us in a better situation?
I think it's more about owning land. That was original design by the founding fathers.
Right, because that goes hand in hand with wealth.
You need a place that will go to hell if you mess it up enough. You need a connection with, because assets, liquid assets, money, you can move anywhere, and you can move it really quickly. You click and your money goes from America to Switzerland and you can go retire there. But having a connection with land is different.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, today just wanted to hop on and give a quick rundown on this immunity thing. And let's see, going to be off on Wednesday because of the 4th of July, so maybe we'll try and do something tomorrow. But definitely going to be doing something on Newsom this week or next week. We have a few videos we're releasing this week in place of me being away for a little bit. Definitely not streaming Wednesday, but I might do it Friday from a different location. So I'll keep you guys posted. And as always, love you all. Thanks for watching. And subscribe if you have not yet. And we'll see you later. Any final thoughts?
Yes. Remember why we celebrate the 4th of July. This is the greatest country ever. And that's that. So do your part.
Yep. I'll stream on Christmas before I stream on the 4th of July.
Eat hot dogs and do fireworks.
Shoot a fucking gun off or something,
Yeah. Be safe, though.
Yeah. Yes. Responsible gun ownership.
Responsible gun ownership and responsible fireworks use. That's very important.
Yeah. Just be a patriot.
Be a patriot.
Yep. Closing thoughts. Love you all. We'll see you later. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Peace.